And we continue with the semi-final round of the British Professional Ballroom Championship. In the waltz, 13 couples have been recalled, and they are 31, 71, 79, 104, 128, 148, 151, 198, 222, 242, 253, 265, and 272. Thank you, couples. The waltz. Thirteen couples have been recalled, and they are 31, 50, 59, 71, 79, 104, 128, 151, 198, 222, 242, 253, and 272. Thank you, couples. The Foxtrot. And in the tango, 12 couples have been recalled. 31, 71, 79, 104, 128, 148, 151, 198, 222, 242, 253, and 272. Thank you, couples. The tango. And in the quick step, 12 couples have been recalled. 31, 50, 71, 79, 104, 128, 151, 198, 222, 242, 253, and 272. And the last dance in this semi-final, ladies and gentlemen, the quick step.
And so the semi-final waltz, Pat.
Yes, a beautiful line, the artistry of the toes extending through to the top of the head. Victor and Anna.
Rising Star winners, and here in the semi-final of the Open Professional Championship.
Beautiful same foot lunge.
I must declare, Pat, I think this couple are absolutely superb. They display artistry and class and ease and elegance. When they're on form, I think they are among the very, very finest in the whole world.
Yeah, they're a beautiful, excellent couple. Alexei and Tatiana dancing a very nice foxtrot, reverse wave with all the press and the rotation.
Lovely dancers indeed.
They certainly are.
Not professional all that long. They won the Rising Star International and UK and was second in the Blackpool Rising Stars.
Jonathan and Lynn, really comparatively quite a new couple, although both very experienced. Beautiful togetherness.
And into the tango.
Tony and Amanda. Quite flashy in that action with a very flashy dress. Yes, so very compact and controlled with a good staccato action. Italy, Roberto and Morena.
Just a bit loose in the legs occasionally.
Yes, they don't skim past each other. The legs don't pass each other sufficiently delicately. I think this is a little bit flamboyant for me.
Oh, yay. But very clever. Oh, weaving out to miss the couples. Some good floor usage there. Spatial awareness. Mr. Mackenzie, good evening to you.
Good evening, Brian.
24 years organising this festival. And I remember right at the start and meeting your mother. That's more than a year or two ago, isn't it? It must be about the first year when you brought her in to have a look at the dancing, and you've made some changes since then, of course, over the years.
Yes, there have been some changes. I think one of the first changes I did was the senior Latin was always on the Saturday with the team match.
Correct.
And as there are not as many competitors in that, we thought it might be better to move the senior Latin to the Monday, and we then started the under 21 year Latin championship on the Saturday, which proved a great success.
Well, all the changes, there hasn't been any bad changes, has there, over the years? I can't think of anything that's changed that you've made, all of which seem small and yet have been important enough to justify the changes, but have not proved to be really effective.
Well, there aren't that many changes, I don't think, but I'm just trying to think, actually, of one or two of the smaller changes. But at the moment, they elude me.
Well, it's the whole package of the festival is so finely tuned that a lot of people don't even know there's any changes have taken place. This year, possibly a little bit more significant because of the two Rising Stars events that you've introduced. Are you happy with the success of those? Certainly the numbers.
Yes, that has worked. It is extremely hard work because it means on the first Friday we have to start early in the morning, and on the Saturday early in the morning with the qualifying heats for these amateur rising stars. And then we have to work the whole of Sunday because the Congress, whether it is the Ballroom Dancers Federation or the World Congress, they have unfortunately had to move back into the Spanish Hall, so they are there for both the Saturday and the Sunday, thus releasing the ballroom for these two new competitions. But it was a great success. I think we had something like 357 entries in the Rising Star Amateur Latin, which is extremely good.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And this means that your under 21 Latin or your under 21 ballroom can have 2 events to dance in instead of just the one.
That's right.
The reason why we had to stop the under 21 dancing in the amateur ballroom and the amateur Latin is because on the Wednesday, which is Pro Latin night, that is the busiest night of the week, and if you have the under 21 ballroom, the amateur ballroom and the Pro Latin, plus all the people who adore to come and watch the Pro Latin, then you would go well beyond the fire limit, and therefore we had to reduce the numbers, and this is the only way I could do it, by stopping the under 21s dancing in the championship.
But by introducing the new event, as you rightly say, they can still dance in 2 events, which makes their trip worthwhile because they come from so many countries all around the world.
54 countries this year.
54, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
What is it, do you think, Mr. Mackenzie, that has continually drawn our overseas friends and fellow dancers to Blackpool? We know that the history is a magnet, but it draws them every year. What is the magic that draws them here?
Well, possibly it is the beautiful ballroom, because abroad there are not so many these type of buildings, and I think they utilise a lot of sports stadiums for their events. But also it is the history behind it, and we have used all British judges from 1946 until last year. And the British judges are highly qualified, great integrity, and I think a lot of the foreign couples like to be judged by the British judges. This year, though, we have introduced 2 foreign judges on the evening panel, 1 on the daytime panel, and 1 for just one morning on the Sunday panel. Now, this had been thought about very carefully over the last few years. Should we include foreign adjudicators? The last time we used a foreign adjudicator was in 1938, when it was Hans Buchler, I think, from Austria. So there are a lot of fors and against, and some people are very traditional and want to stick with only British. Other people feel it could be quite a good idea. So it is an experiment this year, and we will evaluate it and see what will happen next year. Possibly they might only use 1 foreign adjudicator, or none, and then go back to 1 foreign adjudicator the following year. It's just a matter of balance, really.
Yes, I've heard many comments both in favour and not so much in favour. And one overriding thing that I've picked up from our overseas friends is that one of the things that makes this event unique in the whole world of dancing is not only the incredible quality and knowledge and experience of the judges and their integrity, but the fact that it is a purely British panel of judges, whereas there are around the world very many very important events, but they have a mixed international panel.
Yes.
And the uniqueness of having just a British panel seems, on balance with most of the people I've spoken to be an added attraction. But one can't deny the quality of the judges that you've had. I have done an interview with Rudy and with John, and of course they're great guys. And
they are ex-British champions also.
Both of them.
Yes,
both of them.
yes.
We actually discussed the feeling when you open the first letter you ever get, and we were comparing notes just before and after the interview, and I remember lying on the bed saying, I can't believe it. And Rudy was saying almost the same thing, because that is the absolute respect with which this event, above all, and the esteem in which it's held. Rudy said a very important thing that has escaped me, and I think many others: the importance of having a separate room for the judges, away from the dancing, away from everybody.
Yes.
And of course, it's always a fun time, the discussions that go on there, and nobody ever talks about the dancing because you need that relief from the high concentration level. But you would agree then, I think, that although there's been some minor changes, it's still fundamentally the same now, 24 years on from your taking over the reins.
Yes, absolutely. Been all the same competitions, except for the two that we've introduced this year. We're still the same number of days. There's still the Congress every weekend, and we still have live music to the Empress Orchestra, albeit the musical director has changed, but it is still the same type of music. Not necessarily what everybody abroad dances to, but it's just the unique Blackpool sound, really.
Yes, 2 months before Blackpool, those of us who have an advanced practice night in our studios, the requests come in, can we have Blackpool music? Because it is distinctive, and they want to get into the mood, and there's this one CD that opens with the fanfare, and that everybody perks up immediately because they know that people are coming on for the first round, and they're waiting with expectancy to hear their number called. Of course, this is, for many people, a memorable but rather sad week, because we understand it's the last week you'll be the festival organiser.
Yes, the time has come, I'm afraid. 24 years as festival organiser. I was 2 years prior to that with Mr. Bill Francis, who unfortunately had poor health and died in 1981, which was the year I took over. And prior to that, of course, I was employed by the Blackpool Tower Company in the publicity department. So it's 30 years with the company and 24 years as organiser.
So what are you going to do?
Well,
all the spare time.
Well, I have various ideas. I think I might do some voluntary work on the talking newspaper for the blind.
Oh, how wonderful.
I have a friend who's been doing that for 30 years, and she thinks I would quite like to, or I might be an asset to them. I hope so. Thought I might go back to night school and do a language.
Oh.
But, and also I would like to do French polishing.
Would you? Why? Where's the French polishing come from?
Well, I've got quite a bit of antique furniture, and over the years, well, it's got rather hammered, I suppose, with my children and then the grandchildren. And, well, especially the dining table, which is solid mahogany, it really is not looking its best. So I thought I might have a go at that.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you're going to be very busy?
Yes.
Yes, well.
But then Eric does say, if you're going to be that busy, you're not going to have time to really do anything else. So he wonders, you know, how I would have found time to go to work when all these things that I'm planning to do, it's a good thing I'm retiring.
It'd be nice if you do the talking newspaper, because your voice is very clear. I remember there was a radio series from the north of England about dancing, and you did a programme for them, and I've still got the tape in the car.
There were several of us that did it, yes, and they talked a bit about my aspect of the dancing. I'm not sure if Marcus Hilton did one, and David Roberts.
Yes, that's correct.
And then they played some music in between. Because I think I said that I remember Richard Gleave saying that Days of Wine and Roses was one of his favourite foxtrots.
Yes, and they played it, yes.
Yes, I can remember that, yes. That seems a long time ago.
Well, it's not all that long, really. Yeah. It's all a matter of perception. But I remember you said in that programme that you wanted Blackpool to be and remain the first and foremost festival of dancing in the world, and certainly under your direction it has been, and I'm sure it will remain so. And so, Mrs. Jill Mackenzie, I'd like to say on behalf of all the dancers here and all the dancers that are not here, the love and respect and affection in which you're held, and we wish you great health and great enjoyment in the future.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you.
And so we come to the last event of the festival, ladies and gentlemen, the finals of the British Professional Ballroom Championship. In the first 3 dances, the same 6 couples have been recalled. And they are 79, 104, 128, 151, 198, and 253. And so we have these same 3 couples for the first 3 dances, ladies and gentlemen. And their first dance is the waltz. And the second dance, the foxtrot. Thank you, couples. The tango. In the quick step, 7 couples have been recalled. 79, 104, 128, 151, 198, 222, and 253. Yes, that's always a very, very special moment, ladies and gentlemen. And now we have the last dance of this festival in the competition, the quick step. Thank you, judges. Thank you very much, couples. Now, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, we have something very, very special for you. The saddest news possible occurred last weekend, and very, very hastily and very gratefully everyone pulled together and made a tribute to somebody very special. And we thought it was only fitting at this point to conclude the dancing of this particular week with something unique for a very unique person. So I'm going to ask the professional finalists to come back on the floor if they would. If we could welcome you back, couples, thank you, all 7 of you. And they are going to be joined, ladies and gentlemen, by the 6 amateur finalists from yesterday. Can we welcome you couples onto the floor? And something very special and unique, ladies and gentlemen. A waltz to the desert song, in the memory of Bobby Irvin, MBE.
A most moving and wonderful tribute to a wonderful, outstanding lady. Moving in every sense. The dancers moving around the floor. The audience all moved to their feet to pay tribute to Mrs. Bobby Irvin, MBE.
And this corner, ladies and gentlemen, forever Bobby's corner. Thank you so much, couples, for that wonderful gesture. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And this, of course, has been recorded for posterity, and I'm sure is a very, very special moment for everyone. And I know that when the appropriate time comes, Bill will take great comfort from seeing that. Thank you very much, couples. You did a wonderful thing. We appreciate it very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
And so now we move into the final 6 couples and the final dances of the week. Starting with the champions.
Yes, they have the composure and the confidence that develops with winning. Yes, Timmy and Joanne worked very hard, as all the couples have done. I think it's a good night for them, but not an extra special night, which I think they hope for.
Yes, having won one dance last year, they're probably trying to win more this year if possible.
Here we see the length of action from the shinglers.
They've had a good night this year. It's been a good competition for them. I must say that I think there have been some cracking girls. The lady dancers in the pro field at the moment, there's absolutely stunning dancers, particularly multi-talented.
Here we see the 3-step again, beautifully executed.
Superb foxtrot action. Christopher and Hazel, and they're looking remarkably good.
Yes, they do.
Dancers should study their closing action, their perfect closes, perfect tango closes, as you will get with this couple. Study the character of the dance, watch the best dancers.
A little bit looser than the flicking foot.
Yes, yes.
We have a good floor courage from Giampiero and Eva. I like this couple a lot.
Yes, the only dance in the final that they've made is the quick step, and of course they're fresh and they're up for it. Last year's amateur champions, Marco and Alicia. Not quite the brilliance they showed at the UK 6 months ago. So a very good night for them, but on that night they were just superb.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of another festival. I promised you at the beginning of the week it would be something historic, and so it proved to be, for the biggest variety of reasons. But it's my privilege to reintroduce to you all the officials who have taken part during the week, starting with the daytime adjudicators. From Italy, Mr. Luca Baricchi. From Exmouth, Mr. Geoffrey Dobinson. From London, Miss Doreen Freeman. From Kenley, Mrs. Alison Fulham. From Woking, Miss Lindsay Hillier-Tate. From London, Miss Barbara McCall. From Edinburgh, Mr. Jack Reevely. From South Godstone, Mr. Michael Stylianos. From Kenley, Mrs. Marion Welsh. And our additional adjudicators on Sunday morning, from Keston, Mrs. Barbara Grover. And from Japan, Mr. Tetsuo Kazuka. And our evening adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen. From Kingswood, Mr. Len Armstrong. From Chalfont St Giles, Mr. Michael Barr. From Scotland, Mr. Donny Burns, MBE. From Cobham, Mrs. Hazel Fletcher. From Woking, Mrs. Janet Gleave. From Rochdale, Mr. Marcus Hilton, MBE. From the United States of America, Mr. John Kimmins. From Sanderstead, Miss Carol McCrailed. From Ormskirk, Miss Margaret Redmond. From Kingswood, Mr. David Sycamore. And from Germany, Mr. Rudolf Trautz. And my compatriot, who was the chairman of the afternoon judges, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Gleave. Also, I would like to introduce to you the stewards who have done a remarkable job. Mr. Roy Sharp, Mr. Arthur Parr, Mr. Michael Hayton, and Mr. Stephen Hargreaves. The scrutineering team, headed in the daytime by Mr. Nicky Miles. And in the evening, the chief scrutineer, Mrs. Estelle Gresby. I would also like to thank for you and bring on the person who directed the practice in the mornings at the Tower, Mr. Dean Abraham. And the gentleman in charge of the recorded music here in the Emperor's Ballroom, Mr. Greg DeVette. It's also my pleasure to say thank you to a gentleman who actually does a wonderful job, and I haven't had a chance to thank him so far this week because we're always passing each other, as it were. So he's been relatively unsung, and he certainly doesn't deserve that. Whether we're early, whether we're late, whatever we need, he's there, and he's done a terrific job. Mr. David Lobban. And of course, as I mentioned to you once or twice, ladies and gentlemen, during the week, I think the improvements are going from strength to strength. I think we have a wonderful orchestra to look forward to in the future. And it's all due, in first place, to the direction of Mr. Ashley Froelich. And, of course, the gentlemen of the Empress Orchestra. And a special introduction, of course, because this is the last time I'll be introducing her as the Assistant Dance Festival Organizer, because from next year, or in fact indeed from November for the Closed British Festival, she will be the festival organizer. I'm sure a lady you will all come to know and respect over time, who has done already a wonderful job in making this festival the success it is. Please welcome Mrs. Sandra Wilson. And I would like to now conclude, ladies and gentlemen, with something which is ultimately, of course, very sad. But I know that this lady will go on from strength to strength. I sincerely hope, and I'm really sure, she can't be lost to us. She can't be lost to us. It's too important. A real ovation, if you would, please, for a lady who has done 24 years of work, the festival organizer, Mrs. Gillian Mackenzie. Jill, if you'd like to come to the centre, please. And Mrs. Doreen Freeman, accompanied by Miss Ellen Armstrong, will make a final presentation. Thank you, Doreen, and thank you, Mr. Armstrong. And we thank you, Jill, not only for this week, but for all those years of wonderful service to dancing. And I'd like to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, the man who is in part responsible for all that goes on here, not only this festival, but in other areas too. To make the presentation this evening, please welcome the Operations Executive of Leisure Parks, Mr. Michael Williams. The result of the 2004 British Modern Professional Championship. In the waltz, first, Christopher Hawkins and Hazel Newbury.
I think they'll win more than the waltz because it was a superb performance tonight.
Second, Timothy Howson and Joanne Bolton.
Very good, but I agree with your comments earlier, Pat. Very good, but...
Not a super duper one, but...
Jonathan Wilkins and Katusha Demidova.
Yep.
Still excellent.
Fourth, Mirko Godsoli and Alessia Betty.
Very popular.
Yes, a lot of fans there.
Well, they're wonderful dancers. I felt a little disappointed because they were so good at the UK. It's not that they weren't good, they were very good, but perhaps I expected too much.
Fifth, Alan Shingler and Donna Shingler. And sixth, Jonathan Crossley and Lynn Mariner. In the Foxtrot, first, Timothy Howson and Joanne Bolton.
Oh, wonderful. Well, they'll be delighted.
Yes.
Because that's exactly the same as last year. They'll be hoping to improve on that.
Second, Christopher Hawkins and Hazel Newbury. Third, Jonathan Wilkins and Katusha Demidova. Fourth, Alan Shingler and Donna Shingler. Fifth, Mirko Godsoli and Alessia Betty. And 6th, Jonathan Crossley and Lynn Mariner. In the tango, 1st, Christopher Hawkins and Hazel Newbury.
So they've secured their tango position
2nd,
tonight.
Timothy Howson and Joanne Bolton. Third, Jonathan Wilkins and Katusha Demidova. Fourth, Mirko Godzoli and Alessia Betty. Fifth, Jonathan Crossley and Lynn Mariner. And 6th, Alan Shingler and Donna Shingler. In the quickstep, 1st, Christopher Hawkins and Hazel Newbury.
As last year, a total of 5 points in the final, 1-2, 1-1, and enough to secure the title
2nd,
once again.
Timothy Howson and Joanne Bolton.
Two, 1-2-2, the same as last year, a total of 7 points.
3rd, Jonathan Wilkins and Katusha Demidova. Fourth, Mirko Godzoli and Alessia Betty.
Establishing himself into 4th place. 17-point total gives them a very comfortable margin.
Fifth, Giampiero Giannico and Eva Polsena.
That only danced in the final. They were a bit fresher than the others, I think, which was a slight advantage, but they danced extremely well.
Yeah, they were terrific.
When you give a couple as good as that 3 dances start, and
Sixth, Jonathan Crossley and Lynn Mariner.
so they total 23 points, and it looks like Alan and Donna will total 22.
And seventh, Alan Shingler and Donna Shingler. And for your information, ladies and gentlemen, seventh were Giampiero Giannico and Eva Porzena. Sixth were Jonathan Crossley and Lynn Mariner. Fifth were Alan Shingler and Donna Shingler. Fourth were Mirko Godzoli and Alessia Betty. Third, Jonathan Wilkins and Katusha Demidova. Second, Timothy Howson and Joanne Bolton. But the winners and still champions, Christopher Hawkins and Hazel Newbury. Well, it's been an extraordinary week, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you have to travel to, a very safe trip home. We look forward to seeing you again next year. Please be upstanding for the Queen. Thank you, and see you next year.
Don't you worry. We're having fun. We're getting all these celebrities on the video. They'll all be buying a copy of the video because they're surrounding the winner. This is the lovely Barbara Grover here. Her husband just drifted away.
Okay.
We've been recording for ages. Yeah,
Yes.
Of course I do. Not you. That's not you.
Hazel, he wants the pretty
In
one
spite
in the
of the
middle.
good suit. In spite of the good suit, that's not you. It's been recording for ages. I'm not going to kiss you.
Okay, no kisses.
But congratulations.
Thank you very much, Brian.
You enjoyed tonight.
It was a fabulous night, absolutely
You
fabulous.
were really
yeah.
up for it, weren't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Watching you right from the early rounds, you were banged on form.
Thank you very much, thank you.
I would even, although you lost a dance again, you have
I
to stop
can't
doing
believe it, can't believe it.
It's a bit of fun, bit of a highlight.
It's a low light. How can it be a highlight to lose a dance?
Do you know, funnily enough, I thought the Foxtrot was the best dance in the
Yeah,
final,
I
so
felt
there you
very
go, what
good
can you do?
Well, there you go. You danced terrifically well.
Thank you so
And
much.
this is the second time, so
Yes.
Yeah.
second time of many. And
Oh, we hope so, you never know, you never know.
Absolutely. We love dancing here.
Yeah.
We love the open brush.
It's our second home, really, Blackpool, so.
Yeah.
well, you certainly eat up the floor, don't you? You don't